Shane Hewitt and the Night Shift Podcast.
It's time for Chris Abel here. Tech and cool things. Chris, expensive things today.
Yes. The big news today was that Nintendo revealed all the details of their upcoming video game system, the Switch 2. So the big details are it's going to be launching June 5th for $630. What I can tell you is I've seen so many video game system launches over the years, going all the way back to the GameCube. This, to me, is one of the most exciting. And the reason is that there's so many great features. Not only does it have a bigger screen, 7.9 inches, but larger controls, the thumb pad, the buttons, that kind of thing. Also, the Joy-Con controllers, which now connect magnetically, you don't have to kind of slide them in through a tracking system, also work as wireless, like computer mice. So for the first time, you're going to be able to play real-time strategy games like Civilization. This is what I'm noticing. A lot of what I'm seeing with the system is geared towards an older, more sophisticated audience. Not only is it going to have much better graphics than we've seen before for more mature style games, so much so that for the first time you've got a Nintendo system that has cooling fans, so that it has to keep the chipsets cool in order to be able to run the higher end graphics. But it's also got the bigger controls for bigger hands, and it's got all these great games that are launching at launch. Yes, you're going to have Mario Kart World, the first game where you're not just driving on the racetrack, but driving around the world around. It's really amazing, and there's going to be such a great library of games to be able to get not only at launch, but throughout the rest of the summer season. The other big feature is the C button. They've added an entirely new button called C. C stands for chat. So now you have a built-in microphone. You can chat online while you're playing with all your friends, but also if you get the additional webcam, you can actually watch your friends playing their games, all with built-in 12 different sort of in-screen formats. Everything I've seen so far of the Nintendo Switch 2, I'm really excited for. I think this is going to be a great system.
It's kind of like a big iPad with the controllers that snap into the sides. Looks cool. The fan, though, battery life, were they talking about battery life? Because that fan would definitely impact battery life.
Battery life, but also there's a whole new system in terms of how you can connect it so that you've got it plugged in. You're playing with it plugged in order to keep the power going. Yes, I mean, much like the original Switch, this is something you can use like a console connected to your television, but you can also use it like a handheld. So if you're lying on the couch, you can play with it that way.
I think it's cool. It's really cool stuff. Okay, Chris Abel, real Chris Abel on Instagram and Twitter and all the things. Tell us about the cows. It's not very often that we get to go all agriculture with you, so let's get into it.
I know, this is great. So it turns out that here in North America, about 10% of the dairy farms are now being operated with autonomous robots. So this is incredible. You take a dairy farm, if you walked into one of those robotic dairy farms right now, what you're going to see are just basically cows and robots, not many human beings anymore. The autonomous robots can be grouped as either you've got milking robots, and the cows will wander over when they're feeling uncomfortable, and the robots will automatically use lasers and LiDAR to be able to measure the cow, to hook up little suctions and then milk the cows. But you also have feeding robots that come around and offer fresh batch of food, far more fresh than they would have gotten if it was human beings do it. And then, of course, they have their version of Roombas, the robot vacuums that roam around cleaning up all the poop. So you've got this incredible system where you've got robots that are kind of maintaining and doing a lot of the labor that human farmers would have been doing previously.
Okay, now there's a lot of different angles to this story. I didn't have milking cows and robots on my bingo card today. I think this is fun. So how, I guess, like, really, when you look at farm hands and all the different things, the amount of people you have on the farm, that's legit. I mean, that wasn't a really expensive part of it, but it was also a lifestyle and so many things. So technology and farmers haven't always got along.
Right. I mean, it's such a laborsome, involved practice in terms of maintaining and looking after a dairy farm. Now, the idea is that the robots are taking over the labor aspect of it. And in fact, what's nice for the cows is that the robots can be responding to the cows themselves. And so they say the cows end up dictating the schedule. It used to be that the farmer would come in and say, look, I'm going to milk you twice a day. This is when it's most convenient to me. Now the robots just say, come to us when you're uncomfortable, and we'll use our robotic arms to milk you when you want to be. And so the cows find that it's a much more leisurely kind of space or lifestyle for them. And of course, when the farmers show up, all they have to do is just be friendly to the cows. So what you have is like the farmers are like an owner coming into the restaurant and just being nice to the clientele. The cows have developed a new association with human beings. They see the robots as the ones that come in and do all the work. But when the human beings come in, the humans are wonderful creatures. They come over for a little scratch behind the ear. They offer little treats and stuff like that. So the relationship between the farmers and the cows is changing with this new introduction of robots.
That crazy, hey? Bum scratches. That's all we want. Everyone just wants a good bum scratch, including the cows. Okay, now the cows have figured this out, though. They're taking advantage of the robots because they can manipulate them.
This is the best part. The cows are hacking the robots. Now, what this means, Lely, which is the company that manufactures the robots, say that they've now had to come up with their 5th generation of these robots because the cows keep hacking them. They've had to re-engineer them. So, for example, the feeding robot, they had to put a bumper on the robot so that as the robot roamed around, if it accidentally bumped into a cow or into a post, the robot would detect that, would pause, and then re-navigate itself and plan itself as it could continue. The cows, which apparently are very curious about the robots. Every time there's a new robot, the cows all come over to check it out and figure out, what does this robot do? What does it offer? The cows figured out that if they go over and hit the bumper on the side of the robot, it'll cause the robot to pause, and then they can take advantage to grab more food from the robot. So this keeps happening. There are robots that offer treats, for example, and the cows have figured out how to trick the robots to give them more treats. Or there are robots that will come over and give a cow a massage, and so the cows have figured out how to trick the robots to get more massages. This has been a back and forth, as I said, for 5 generations of robots between the manufacturers and the cows in terms of trying to figure out who's going to stay on top and keep things going. And the cows keep figuring it out. It's fantastic.
It makes you wonder who's smarter, hey? Really?
It really does. And the end result is that these dairy farms, they are far more casual, they're relaxed. When you see video footage of it, it looks like the deck of a cruise ship. There's just all these cows, which now have mattresses that they lie on.
Oh, boy.
They're completely relaxed. And they just sort of, oh, excuse me, robot, come over here. Can I have a treat? Or can I have this? Can I have that taken care of? And the cows just look blissfully happy. So I hope that it's overall a very good thing.
It sounds like a great thing. I mean, treating animals better, I think, is, something we can all agree on. It's probably pretty all right. I mean, hierarchy of life and all those things, I get it, but why not? And besides, bum scratches. Chris Abel, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Real Chris Abel, Krisabel. If you want to find him on Twitter and all the bits and pieces, he likes to take these segments and share them out there too. So feel free to jump in on that one. Instagram, also a great place to go.